Okay, you beauties, welcome back to the Wearebe podcast. Today, I am so excited and so inspired by the woman that I'm going to introduce you to. I feel like she's a soul sister. We just met a few months ago, but we are like vibing on the same level. And so she's known by Asiakay Beauty, but her name is Bri, and she is a professional lash artist and educator, 7+ years in the industry and business and the lash world. She's helping others branch out to find their best dream, live their life in passion. And she is here to teach lash artists how to hold their power and express their art in the field of lashes. Welcome.
Hey, you make me sound so fancy. Good thing I'm recording this because that was the best intro I've ever had.
You deserve it, girl. I think that's one thing that in this industry that you and I are similar in the aspect of wanting to always be better. And so sometimes we forget like all of our accomplishments and we don't see ourselves in that glory of who we are. But I think that's what also makes us stay humble.
Exactly. The theme of the retreat this last weekend was be humble. We listened to the song a million times and it's hilarious. We have amazing videos, but it definitely is like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're like famous. And I'm like, no, I'm not, but cool. Okay, sure. I can fake being famous, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we're all celebrities in our own way, right?
Right.
So It's good. But why don't we start, because there's people listening that have never heard of what you do, who you are, what you're about, your story. Kind of give us a background on, what got you into beauty, why lash extensions, and where did you find, that empowerment to educate?
Well, I grew up in Utah County. Great. If any of you are from there, you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. I had my whole entire life planned out and I did it all by 24. So kind of going through midlife crisis right now because I already did all my dreams, which is weird. What
is your dreams? Go into that. What were you? Okay. Yeah. And then move on from there.
Yes, I was going there. So my dreams were anything art. I did my nails every 3 days. I did my hair, and I didn't do my hair until 8th grade because my mom made me. Because the junior high school and going to PE class, I had to learn how to do my own ponytail. Dang it. So that's when I got into hair, was 8th grade, and I just loved the art of updos. I made very intricate, like crazy basket weaving, everything like mohawks with long hair, crazy stuff. Just with hair art, nail art, everything. I just loved it. And on the side, I was also painting and drawing, and I just liked how more solid I could show my artistic ability in the cosmetology world and beauty world rather than being an artist only. So it was more job security to be a cosmetologist than a painter. So I naturally went toward that. So starting in 8th grade, I lined all my classes up to go to cosmetology school in high school. So I made sure I did all my credits, didn't fail anything. So I went to cosmetology school during my senior year. And I graduated high school in May. I graduated cosmetology school in August. And during school is also where I came up with the name Asiakay Beauty. So that's kind of where I just pulled it out of my butt. One day we're making our make-believe salons, and I loved Asia and the Asian culture, and I like the name for a girl. So I'm like, okay, Asia works. Kay is part of my middle name, and it just flows. And the slogan was going to be where everyone is royal, and have it be like super magnificent and huge. But of course, I like small things to start small. So from there, I knew I was going to open a salon one day and I was going to have teaching one day because I did, even in cosmetology school, I saw the lash business didn't have very great education 8 years ago. I noticed that a while ago.
Yeah, ditto. I'm like, wow, I learned way more being in the field than I did even in my class. And then time changed because education is always changing constantly. So
Yep.
Yeah.
So going from there, so I did have a plan of the next 10 years. I was going to make a salon, I was going to educate, and I was going to move across the country. Those are my 3 things. So guess what I've done? I've built a salon, done trainings, and moved across country. I love it.
Dude.
So all on top of that, so after cosmetology school, I did hair for a little bit. Didn't really vibe with it because most people don't like the crazy basket weave updos every day. So I did mostly nails and lashes, doing house calls for about 2 years, then got married and moved up to Logan, Utah, which is great. That's where I met my co-owner, Steph. We were in a salon together. The salon's shut down. We had no space to do lashes. No salon had space for us at all. Like, we would be lashing in the reception area. Like, there was no space for us anywhere. So we were just driven to open a salon, even though we were already thinking about it. It was kind of just perfect timing. It was just handed to us, that timing. So
Wow.
We talked with realtors. We never got any loans, nothing. Everything was out of pocket, no loans, no debt. I'm still 24 and have 0 debt apart from my car and my house. That's it. So I'm really impressed about that. But so we built a salon and smooth sailing. We were great. Then, of course, I moved out to Tennessee. And so yeah, there's the 3 things. So then with trainings, I've been doing trainings a little bit before we opened the salon. So I would say about 4.5 years I've been on and off training, but solidly for the last 2. Since I've moved here, I totally redid everything, made it super concrete instead of wishy-washy, and just hit it home run. So about the last 3.5 years, I've just been business, and training, everything. But with doing so much business, that is where a lot of entrepreneurs and business people, beauty people, don't see the connection between all 3, which is what you guys talk about all the time. You talked about it in your other episodes, and I absolutely loved it. I was like, yes! I was like, victory, like punching the air, like, yes, because it is so hand in hand, and people don't get it. Like, go live. People love your face. People connect to a story. You do need to post. And I just talked about this in a live, but if you suck at posting, maybe you should learn how to be good at posting. In business, you find your weakest link and make it your strongest link. Mm-hmm. And then you do the cycle over and over and over again. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting what you said about that, because I've noticed, like, along the entrepreneurial journey, all the things that made me feel overwhelmed because I felt like I wasn't good at it, or like I just honestly, because I didn't even know that there was a better way to do it or how to do it. Like, that would create a blockage in me, which would stifle my business progress, which would stifle my confidence. So it truly is about self-empowering and self-educating. What did you do to self-educate yourself? Or have you taken courses? Do you have mentors? Like, what is it that helped you get through those roadblocks?
Yeah, I've had many of those roadblocks, and then I would spiral down into a big volcano pit and never come out for days. So I know what you're talking about. So first, I mostly just did online classes of social media, emails, tons of podcast help, YouTube. That's mostly it. And then when I got married, Gavin's dad is business savvy, so he was able to help me a little bit with things. And then when I moved here, I've been more focused. When we opened the salon, there's no resource to tell you, oh, how do you open a salon? XYZ, here's the steps, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're like, okay, great. So then I like to talk to others about it, tell them how it goes. It is easier than you think. It's just your brain overloading it, and it's all about organization. I feel like that's all business comes down to. Business equals organization. If you're not good at organizing, get good at it.
And executing.
And executing it. Yeah, those are the 2 steps: organizing and executing, and strategy and planning. Like, those are the 4 things that are key to any business. And if you have that, you're good. So then, yeah, I do a ton of online classes. I just signed up for a new one this week. I'm still learning. We're all learning. But as long as you stay one step ahead of everyone else, you're good. So that's what I
love
try
that.
to do.
And that's something that Josh and I talk about a lot is there's so many women, not just women, but men too in the beauty industry that are like, who am I to educate? Who am I to teach? And truthfully, you're never there because like what you just said, we're always learning. We're constantly growing and constantly learning because we understand that that's how life works. Things are changing. Technology is updating. Things are always going to change. Laws are changing. Techniques are changing. And so I love that you said that because it isn't about waiting you want to be confident in what you're talking about, but you don't need to be the best of the best, the best of the best and have $1 million company to start educating and inspiring people. If you're one step ahead, you can teach the people that are behind you. And that's what we love about like what we're creating with Wearebe is it's a platform where we like, and girl, because you did it. You spent the G's on creating an online course and now you have it on your website and we allowed you to, host your courses on our site, which I'm really excited about because collaboration over competition, girl. And it really is about, being one step ahead and empowering yourself to continue growing because it's not about needing to go back to school and get a PhD. Although if you want to do that, whatever, but like you can do it and you don't have to like limit yourself. Yeah. I love that. So, so you shared so much of like your journey in business and you're a freaking badass and like you inspire me, girl, like 24 and you got this all together. Like where does that passion come from? Where did that drive come from?
I guess just I've always had the mindset of making the life you want. Like being a millennial, I am the typical millennial. You can do whatever you want. You can have your dreams come true if you just work for it. And guess what? I made it happen. So yeah, just sticking to my guns. I'm very goal oriented. Yeah. Even when I was younger, like I did everything on my to-do list. I'm a big planner. But I also am with the whole thing of the lotus, like it's not just my business logo, it's also my personal logo. It was my personal logo even before I had a business. Like I just love the meaning of the lotus. Like you come from absolute shit, you grow from shit, you grow from like mud, and that's what happens. But this beautiful thing can come of it, and it could be gorgeous and huge and floral and colorful and everything and just like graceful, and everyone can just stare at your beauty and be in awe because you're surrounded by all this crap, but you just stick out because of how amazing you are. That has always been my driving force, is just finding meaning in life, and there's always going to be a better, prettier lotus that I turn into later because all the shit is behind me. And if I get a little pebble of dirt here and there, that's okay. That's what happens, but that's what makes me more beautiful too. I need to take my own advice. This is great advice.
I know. Sometimes I look back on my posts and I'm like, dang, I needed to hear that from my old self. I love that you said that. And you want to know even what's like super crazy too is that my beauty business, when I rebranded like a year and a half ago, we did the lotus flower too for self-image beauty. So I'm like, when I found you, I'm like, this is my girl. We are diving.
Yes.
And so let's go into that more because I know that you and I are very into personal development, personal growth, because if you're an entrepreneur, if you're not in it, your business will not exist eventually because you have to grow in order to grow your business. And like you mentioned, about the lotus, like having to grow from the mud and sprout from like dirty, shitty mud and coming up and being beautiful. What are some things that you've gone through? And you can go as deep or as high as not as deep as you want, but could you share some experiences? Because I know that when people look at you, they're like, you're a celebrity, right? Because they look up to you. And I think that part of seeing that they can do it themselves too is knowing that you're human. And, what are some things you've gone through and some challenges, adversities that you've faced that have helped you grow yourself and your business?
Okay, there's no way to not get deep, I guess. There's no vague way to say it. I'm going to get deep no matter what, even if I am vague. So I do talk. I'll start with family first. Family is a huge part of my upbringing. Being in Utah, I was grown up super hardcore Mormon, and that was one of my reasons why I moved across the country and always wanted to, is just to be able to get away and feel free and just escape. And that's the best thing I ever did for myself, was to leave Utah. And nothing against Utah. I love visiting, everything with it, but even just moving around Utah, I never found myself until I truly left everything behind. And it was like cleansing, rebaptized. Like, the person I am now is not the person I was 2 years ago before I moved. Like, I may be doing the same things, similar things, but totally different, because I'm actually myself now. So there's that. Second would be, I was born to a high schooler. My mom was 16. My dad was 17. They got married and divorced in high school. So I was the only child for 7 years on my mom's side. My dad, he turned around, got remarried right out of high school with my first stepmom, and he's been married 4 times since, I think. And my mom remarried when I was 3, and she couldn't have kids after me, so she adopted 3 others. So I was basically the second mom at that point. I was 7. I was the handy woman of being the second mom. So that's where my natural nurture comes from, is I have 7 siblings under me. And yeah, my mom had adopted 3, and they're all 11 months apart. So they're triplets. And then my dad had 4 others with my first stepmom. And so I am the oldest of both sides, naturally, being the high school baby. And so always being an adult, but always being a kid, like having these 2 lives. I've always had a double life. Always. I've never had just like one single life of like, oh, this is Bri. No, it's my Aquarius side where I have like 20 personalities, and you never know which one you're going to get depending on what setting you get me in. Which is so annoying. I was talking to Gavin about that yesterday. But being a mom made me my nurturing side. I always care about others before me. And part of moving out here was to focus on me, because I've never done that in my entire life. Even when I was making my goal plans, I was never about me. It was about others, helping others, never about me. I can't think of a time where I was openly selfish on purpose. And some people can take that as being arrogant. So take it however you want. I don't care. This is me. But going through multiple divorces with my dad, I was close to him. I was close to all my siblings. When his second divorce went through, I was 13, and it was very dirty. One of the dirtiest ones you could ever see. I testified against him in court. I went through everything. And me and my mom had to fly to Colorado Springs to do it at the official Air Force base. Like, it was hefty for sure.
Especially being so young and having to face such hard things at a young age.
So I've always been an adult because I've had such a young mom, and she expected me, all my parents expected me to step up to the adult thing because I was the older one, but I also was part of the kids. And so I never really knew my place, but I just did whatever people told me. Like, that was all I did. I never thought for myself. Well, at least I didn't feel like I thought for myself. I just let people think for me. So one of my things that I have had to overcome, and even still now I still have to think about it, is having my own opinion and making my own voice and my own thoughts and my own permission, like giving myself permission. I just wrote out a physical permission slip. You have permission to create the thoughts of your dreams. That's
it. Oh my gosh, girl.
I had to actually write it out because I'm so bad at it. And before I make a decision or anything, I ask at least 5 people what they think. And usually I would let that deter what my decision was. But lately I've cut that down to 2 people. And I still ask, not necessarily permission, but what they think. Of course, that's how it is in business. You have to make sure you have an audience for what you do. So I do still ask questions, but I make sure I have made my decision first. I've made my opinion up first, and then I ask. But I ask someone who's my equal, not my above or my below. I make sure I ask someone equal, just so we are on the same level head. But going back to the whole personal struggles thing, yeah, still learning that. You know how hard it is to create a curriculum when you're just like exposed to so much? It's like, oh, I like the way she designed that. I want to design my book that way. Oh, wait, no, don't do that. Don't do that. So I honestly follow very minimal people so I don't overexpose myself, because I know my limit. I am naturally a sponge, and I have to limit myself because I know my limits. I've learned what I can expose myself to, what I can't, what influences me, what doesn't. So I try to have my trainings as crystal clear as possible, because you're not going to get anything else. And going back to the last topic, I just made a post, actually. It's on my Planoly. It's going to come out soon. That saying, guess what? I'm not the best lash artist. Guess what? I'm not the best trainer. But the stuff that you will get with me is totally different, because I encompass absolutely everything of me. And you're not going to get me anywhere else. No one comes to me like I've moved across the country and built a new clientele 3 times in 3 months flat. No one believes me how I do that until they know how I did it. And it is so freaking easy. It's just that you're overthinking it. And just break it down to the do's and don'ts, the to-do page, the to-not-to page, and just get the nitty-gritty. Okay, I'm going off topic. Okay, back on topic.
No, you're good. I love that you shared that, though, and I think that it's so important to touch on that, because there's another woman who her name's Olga. She's in the lash world too. She's out in San Diego, but her market is mostly the Latino culture. And she was saying so we all do lash trainings, right? And she wanted to create one online too. And she's like, you know what I love about life is that regardless if we're trying to create something similar, it's never, there's never going to not be enough room for you if that's what you're called to do. And I think what you said about staying true to you and having it come from your heart, I think there's so much weird stuff that happens in the beauty industry of like jealousy and comparison, that it's a superficial industry too. So people can get catty and or not step into their power because they're like, oh, mine's not like theirs, or my stuff doesn't look like their stuff, or how they presented isn't how I do, so I'm not good enough, or I can't do it. And it's like, no, you stay in your lane, girl. You put those blinders on and you release the ideas and the trainings and the thoughts and put it out there. And that's the thing where it's like, I'm sure that for you, from your first training that you ever did years ago to now, you've changed a lot of the curriculum. And I think for me too, like I'm constantly updating as I get new information to make it the best that it can be. And that's one thing that I love is you say like, this comes from me. Like when you go to this trainer or that trainer, you're not getting me. So it is exclusive to you. And I think that there's so much value in going to different trainings to really get a better bird's eye view of what you like, pick and choose, like what techniques work best for you and how you want to teach it. Like, didn't you go to like 7 or 8 trainings yourself?
I think I have 9 now. Yeah.
Yeah,
9
girl.
trainings in total.
I love that. So what is your thought process about, like, why did you do that? Why did you go to so many trainings?
So being an educator, one of my stepping stones that I made for myself was, okay, if I want to be an educator, what do I want to see in an educator? So my checklist would be 1, making sure I have perfected 3 different fanning techniques. Check. 2, be on top of education and never fall behind, because that was big 5 years ago. Everything was behind or just non-existent. So I always stay on top of it. And if I, once again, going back to the goals, if I see a picture and I'm like, oh, I want to do that. Okay, cool. I'm going to work at it until I do it. And yeah, I'm going to fail. Yeah, well, not necessarily fail. I'm going to have stepping stones of getting better and better and better until you actually perfect the perfect line or the perfect texture, the perfect Kim K or anything. Like, it just comes down, to your values, what you want. And that was my values that I wanted to have, was the most education around, well-rounded education. And so then you would get a well-rounded education yourself coming from me, and coming not only from the lash perspective, but also the business and the emotional standpoint. Like, when you take my class, we become best friends. It is not teacher and an instructor and student. We are all friends. We're all learning from each other. My classes are very conversational based, not lecture based. Mm-hmm. So I do have slides, I do have everything, I do have a presentation, but I go at it more to keep me on topic for the conversations. It is so geared toward you specifically as a lash artist. Yes, I have set curriculum, but it is specified, it is drawn out in a way that it can be specified to whoever is taking the class. We can go as advanced as possible, and we can go as basic as possible, or we can go in a totally different topic. We can talk about making your own product line. We can talk about making a salon. We can do anything. And that's also why I make mine 3 days, because you can't do business mixed in for 1 hour. Everyone's going to still have a million questions. So I added, all my trainings are 3 days, unless otherwise planned. But so we have a whole entire day just to focus on you and your business, because that is just as important as actually doing the service itself. If you can do the service, that is just one major step, but it is just one step of your whole entire life of learning and how to even do anything.
Right. I love that. And that's so true. Like, and not just with lash artists, but anybody in the beauty industry, right? Because the barrier of entry is so low in the beauty industry that you can literally open your salon for pennies on the dollar. Like, you can really get into it like ASAP. And so what, maybe you could give some people advice that have wanted to start their own business, but they're so overwhelmed. Like, where should they start?
Okay, I'm not done talking about my struggles, so I'm going to tie those in together. So going back to struggles a little bit and then tying it into being overwhelmed and where to start. So that is why I do so much as what I do, is because I was overwhelmed. For years, up until this year, I've been working 7 days a week. I had no idea how many hours, going crazy. But also on top of that, having the major depression, the major PTSD, the major anxiety, and now recently of course, as soon as I say it, disembodied disorder or whatever, I just feel like I'm floating. This is not my real body. So like me talking to you right now, I just feel like I'm in a dream staring at you, not actually talking to you in real life. That's just how I live. So it's just a weird feeling. Anyway, moving on. So that's where the retreats come in. So if you're overwhelmed with business, you're overwhelmed with everything, I was there too. And I have set those strategies in line to make it so you are non-negotiable going to succeed. Because if I succeeded through all my crap, then you can succeed too. Everyone goes through stuff. Everyone has their own things, but we all have the same feelings. We all feel things. We all feel the same things for different reasons, some more, some less. But every which way, having a foolproof way of having a strategy, putting into action, having the goals, having everything broken down for you. So it's just like, okay, yeah, no brainer. That's what I do today. Okay, cool, done.
I love that.
Yeah.
So the retreats, so you have the retreats, and what are the retreats? What do you do at the retreats? What are they about? All that stuff.
I can just sing from the heavens about the retreats. Okay. So I call them the BBR, Boss Babe Retreats, or Asiakay retreats, either one, but it is where we go on a few-day excursion. It is for any female entrepreneur. It doesn't have to just be the beauty business. We go to a secluded place or any place really. We travel, go to an area, and we be masterminds. We have Okay, so let me talk about the one that just passed, the one in March. We went to Asheville, North Carolina. We went downtown, and it was great. We were in this mountains. Luckily, we did have cell service because I don't think the girls would have survived. But we were secluded. It was so peaceful. We did yoga and meditating every morning. We even had a meditation instructor come in and go through a specified meditation that she made for us to manifest our dreams. Like, it was amazing. Like, every morning, like, one of us was in tears. Like, it was so amazing. We had a speaker on social media. We had a speaker my business coach ended up coming, and she talked about business strategy and how she breaks things down. She gave us flyers, and we also had Nikki Hubner come, who owns Endure Lash. She came and talked about her business and turning your story into your business story and how that all ties together and how to incorporate your personal life into your business life and your numbers and everything. It was just so good. Like, so good. I don't know how the next one's going to be any more perfect, because even though I know it's going to be better, but I don't know how it's going to be any more better, because like, I was brought to tears so many times just looking at these girls and knowing that they were here for me and they believed in me enough to come. And the whole reason why I made the retreats was because I wanted one myself. Last December, I was at my wit's end, working way too much. Yeah, I was at my thinnest at that point that I had been in years, but I took a step back from absolutely everything just because my mind was not healthy. And if you notice, that's kind of where I fell off of the social media thing for a few months up until recently, because I was just so done. I was like, what's the point of life? I've already done all my goals. I've already done everything. Why am I here? I've already done everything. Inspiration come to me. Like, what's next? I am ready. But anyway, I lost my train of thought. So I was looking for a retreat because business and personal life, when you're an entrepreneur or business owner, goes so much hand in hand. They go together. Like, your yin and yang, they're together. As much as you want to separate them, they're the same thing. Either you're a business person or you're not. Kind of. Like, of course, you can mix that, whatever, but
you can be like on the early stages of learning of business, but you have to be proactively learning and proactively growing as a business owner. And I don't care if you're self-employed and you never want to grow your beauty business, it's still a business and you own the business. So you might as well learn how to run a business. And as time goes on, like, the more that you learn, the more empowered you become. And it's so freaking exciting. Like, maybe we could go back to the question, if there's anything that you could say. I know you also have a training on beauty business, but what are some steps that people can take that have wanted to either grow their business or start a beauty business? Maybe not just lash extensions, but in general, what would be the steps? Like, if they're like, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know where to start. Where would you direct them?
1, make a plan. Make a to-do list. Do a brain dump and a brain mapping. I like to brain map my ideas. So that's where you like have the main focus in the center. So in the middle would be Asiakay beauty. And then one off-put would be graphic design. Another off-put would be lash clients. And you can have as many off-puts. And then off those off-puts, those have off-puts. And those all are connected into your brand or your project. So 1, map it out. 2, totally just lay it out there. Talk to someone about it. Make sure you're on the right track. With my business coach, it helped a ton to tell her my ideas. I laid it all out for her, and she's like, okay, we can get it done in this amount of time. I'm like, okay, sweet. So just having someone to bounce that off of was super helpful. Super helpful.
Did she ever tell you that this could happen way sooner than you even thought it could?
No. because I was doing 3 years worth of work in 1 year. I was already pushing her to her wit's end by doing 3 years of work in 1 year.
That's
last
so
year.
funny. I think so many people are on the opposite end where they're like, oh, this is going to take me 5 years. And it's like, no, you actually can get things done way quicker than you thought. Like I remember when we first started to do the online course and create it, Joshua and I together, I was like, oh my gosh, because we had already done a bunch of research and development of like how long it usually takes if you hire a production team, and you went that route. We went the do it yourself route. So it was a lot of learning curves, and Joshua had an experience in tech and in editing. So he was able to help me. But then it empowered me to like realize, oh my gosh, I can do this myself too. But I do remember we launched our first course in 3 weeks, and I'm like, wow, like this is possible. I thought this was like a year, 2 year thing. And I know you took yours was like a year, 6 months, right? A year. Well, how long was it?
I planned mine for 6 months. Yes. And then, but that also was building a ton of my business.
Yeah. Because you had just moved.
Yeah. So the majority of that was still building my business, but hardcore, I would say 3 months on the training. And the trainings are good over like 30 hours of content. It's a ton.
You're amazing. I'm so proud of you. And I'm so excited for what's to come in our collaboration and everything, you know? Awesome. So, okay. So I want to shift gears a little bit and ask you something that you say is the more we respect ourselves as artists, the more your clients respect you. What do you mean by that?
If you come in with, and I have had this, that's why I'm saying it. So if you come in with sweats on from Walmart that are $2, with Old Navy flip-flops, your hair in a bad messy bun, not a cute messy bun, with your glasses on, no makeup, and you say, okay, clients, come to me and pay me $100. They're not going to pay you $100. They're not even going to tip you, even if you are nice. Like, you have to be overly nice to be able to give that to them. So one, respecting yourself is the way you look, the way you present yourself, the way you do everything, but also in the communication that you give with your clients. When my clients, any new client, full set, fill, anything, anyone new that's talking to me, they get a huge text that says my policies, what to prepare for, what to do after. Everything is laid out in front of them. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It is also in the contract, but it's not just in the contract and not just online, because most people are not going to look at that. They're just going to be like, okay, whatever. But if you give them a personal text with their appointment clarification, I have never had anything else go wrong, for the most part. But it just lays it all out there. So you respect yourself by telling them your policies. That way you don't have to ever stand up for yourself in a bad way. Usually that minimizes that issue. And also they know how to approach you. Just like I read a ton of books. They're like, the way you treat yourself is the way you tell people how to treat you. So I'm kind of going off those lines of like, okay, if I was a client here, how would I want to be treated? I want to know all the policies right up front. I want to know what to do pre and post appointment. I want to know how to park. I want to know like everything up front. And so I do it for my clients, and it has been so much easier with anything, any questions they have. It's real questions. It's not like, oh, what cleanser did you say I could use? Because I give them the cleanser. And I give them everything, because the more you take care of them, the more they take care of you, and the more they respect you, because you respect yourself as an artist. Mm-hmm. It's not just them coming to us for a service or anything. It's 50-50 relationship, just like anything else in the world. As far as relationships go, it's they come to us, we come to them, we deliver, they come to us and build us up.
I love that. I love that you said that. And I think it's so important. It's so funny that you say that, because when I rebranded my business to Self-Image Beauty, the tagline was, your relationship with yourself is a reflection of your outer relationship. So your own inner self-image has a direct correlation with how you show up in the world and how people show up to you. And so that's where that personal development and personal growth comes into play, because there's a lot of people that have policies and have procedures, but they don't respect themselves in that. They don't stick to the policies and procedures. They're not charging cancellation fees or no-show fees or having a 3-strike, you're out, no-show, policy, which they're like, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to lose clients. It's like, no, that's how you level up. That's how you level up your clientele. That's how people are coming to you and saying, I want to book with you and I respect you and I'll pay you the big bucks because I know that you're the real deal. You're not some frosted flake, So I love that you said that.
Yes, working with anyone professional, they're going to lay it out to you flat. And of course, if you don't lay it out flat, and you're just going to attract the people that either don't care about the policies or that will walk over you. And that does happen. And it sucks. Gavin tells me all the time, you do create your own schedule, right? I'm like, kind of, not really. My clients do, but not really. Like, you have to make sure that you aren't bullying yourself or letting your clients bully you into doing anything. And yep.
I love that. So, the last question that I have before, we can go into whatever else you want to talk about was, how do your values show up in your work and in your business? It's kind of the same of what we just said, but like, what are your values for Asiakay Beauty, and how does that, and with yourself, and how do those correlate?
That kind of goes into like my why, I guess, like you could say. So like Asiakay Beauty's why is I don't care how many students I train. I don't care how many people I touch. I am creating a foundation. This is still a new industry completely, and we still have so much to go on. We are going to have a ton new artists. We're going to have millions and millions and millions and billions of lash artists come eventually. It's going to happen. That's just fact. But the artists that I train are the foundation. I'm training foundational artists. I'm not just training someone just to do lashes because it's easy money or anything. And that's why I go so deep into my trainings too, is we don't just do surface level stuff. We do hard, deep stuff. We go personal. We go deep into business, deep into lashes, deep into everything, because it's all correlated. But because we're building the foundation of the industry ourselves. So that kind of goes into my brand values, because I don't care about the numbers. I care about the souls. That's all I care about. Don't care about the numbers, care about the souls. Because I'm not motivated by numbers. I'm not a number person. I'm not anything. I'm the biggest empath you'll ever know in your entire life. What I feel is a million times better than $1 million.
I agree, dude.
There you go.
I love that. That just shows, I think that's why we always we just jive. And then as soon as we met, I felt like I've known you for years when we met in person. And I think it's because, authenticity is a huge, huge value of mine, and being authentic. And we're always growing. So you have to have compassion with yourself, because we're still human. There's still things that trigger me, and I'm sure there's still things that trigger you and whatnot. But the core of why we do what we do is to be our authentic self, to be free, to be happy, to be seen. And I think that's where people love you and what you're doing, because you show up in that and you give so much value. And me and Josh were talking, I think it was the first episode. It's like, how you win is business is to give and bring value. Mm-hmm. So there is no withholding information because they're not paying you enough money, or because, you're afraid that they're going to come out and stay in your lane, girl. You do so good about staying in your lane. So let's elaborate on that. What is your, I know you don't watch what a lot of people are doing, but how do you stay in your lane?
I'm very picky with what I do consume. So if I feel overwhelmed, then I'll make sure I listen to something that makes me escape. I have a lot of things that make me escape. So I love to read. I love to paint. I have to make sure that I detox often. as being on Instagram daily, I am very picky with who I follow, who is on my page, because if I see something naturally, hey, guess what? I'm human. I'm going to compare. Yes, I still compare because I'm human. That's what we do. So I just make sure it's as clean as possible, as positive as possible. I surround myself with positivity everywhere as much as I can. And that's the only way I can survive. And I want to make handouts for people actually have it be like a tiny business card size, but all gold, and say, congratulations, you are human. Because everyone's like, oh, sorry, I did this, or I'm sorry, I did that. And I just want to hand them this card that says, wait, don't say sorry. Congratulations. You did something. I don't care what you did. Like, okay, sweet. You parked wrong. Congratulations. You're human. Who cares how you park? Go park somewhere else. Like, of course, I like to make fun of people's parking jobs, but you know what I mean?
Totally.
Like,
yeah. I mean, and it's so true, because it's like, we get so down on ourselves sometimes, and when we're trying to be this perfect image that doesn't exist, but congratulations, you're human, we're human. But
yep.
I think that it is a huge part in not only success in business, in the beauty industry, but just in life in general, to have compassion for yourself, to step back and be like, even if you were comparing, or you were messing up, or you were like, oh my gosh, like I'm intimidated, or I feel threatened by this person over here, like to recenter yourself and give yourself that love and that compassion that you deserve. Because just like you said, you were helping everyone else and you weren't helping yourself until you moved away. You can't give from an empty cup. You cannot give your clients that positive experience that they deserve because they're paying you for it, until you give that to yourself.
Mm-hmm. And I definitely learned that the hard way. So that's where I get deep into all I do, where I say I'm very hippie in what I do. I talk about oils, I talk about crystals, I talk about meditating, yoga, everything. Guess what? I'm a chubby girl. And yes, I still stretch. It's okay. It's because I'm human. It happens. And I'm not saying all this because from a high horse. I'm not saying this from the top of a mountaintop. I am also telling all of this that I've been talking about this whole entire time. I tell this to myself daily. And like, this is not, I'm not saying it just because it's easy for me. I'm saying it because it's just a fact. But we are all still learning and growing, of course. Like, we never stop. And that's why I do say that I'm not the best, and I'll own up to it. Guess what? Okay, cool. If you want the best, I'll be the best me, but I don't know what your standard of best is. So I'll let you find that on your own terms. But yeah, you got to take care of yourself completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, girl, you're amazing.
So are you.
Thanks. And so is there anything that you want to leave with our listeners? Any more advice, inspiration, motivation, tips?
Come to the retreat in October, because we're going to Florida Keys. It is going to be a lot longer. So instead of doing 4 days and 3 nights, it's, I think, 5 days and 4 nights, or 6 days. I don't know. I don't remember, but it's more days. We're going to have more education, more getaway time. We're in the Florida Keys. You're on an island. You're going to be so inspired. You're going to want to kill 2020. Join the sisterhood of the Lash Lotus tribe. But also going along the lines of just, if you find a need, or if you get a feeling or a thought or anything, listen to your intuition. Practice your intuition. That is the best thing you could ever do for yourself, for your business, for your life, is practicing your intuition. That's how I get everything. Everyone's like, how do you hire different people? How do you get new business ideas? How do you do this? How do you do that? And I'm like, honestly, I just thought about it. Like, and that's kind of sad to say, but like, I just thought about it. Like, it just came to me. Like, okay, cool, great. And things come when you're ready for it. The universe gives it to you. When you manifest it, it gives it to you. When you get an idea for a reason. So maybe you should act on it.
Dude, that's so true. Like, and how many times in the past, before you really learned how to practice your intuition and like trust it and step into it, where you like you get a cool idea and you're like, that'd be cool, but like, I don't know if I could do that. I mean, you're pretty goal driven, but I know there's a lot of people that are like questioning themselves and they have this one idea and it comes to them every day and they never do it. It's like, stop being that person. Like, you're here to live a life. You're here to live in purpose. And like, you're creating purpose in the beauty industry, in your business, and living in purpose on purpose. Like, people, I think, forget that your job doesn't have to be something that you hate. You can love what you do. You can inspire people. You can grow together and just bloom into a lotus flower. Right, baby?
Yes. You can go so far. If you are having a thought multiple times, it's probably for a reason. It's not just your gut saying something. It's not just following your heart or following your brain. It's because you're actually in tune with your soul and your soul is telling you something.
I love that. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for all of your amazing tips and advice and like sharing your story and being vulnerable. I know that that's something that sometimes it's difficult for people to do, but that's where, you know, you find the strength in truly helping others do the same thing. So thank you for that. Where can our listeners find you?
You can follow me. I'm everything Asiakay Beauty, just spelled out. Asia, like the continent, and Kay Beauty, and Asiakay Retreats. Everything is under that. So I think I'm pretty easy to find that way.
Yeah,
Thank
Instagram,
you so much for having me
Facebook,
on.
Instagram and Facebook, right?
And YouTube, and yep.
Beautiful. Awesome. And then check out her courses on the Wearebe platform and on her website. What are the courses that you offer?
So I have volume, classic, fanning and adhesive usage, shaping, and business. And there's more to come in April.
Mic drop.
Bam. Yep. And those ones I'm going to do on my own. Because of you, you inspired me to do them on my own instead of paying out the butt for them.
You can do it.
Yep. I'm actually starting to outline them this week and film next week, hopefully in the next couple weeks, and then have it out by April. I'm doing it too. So
yes, I'm so excited for you. You're amazing. You're beautiful. You're freaking an inspiration. And I just appreciate your light in this world and everything that you're doing. So thank you so much for joining us today on the Wearebe podcast. And be sure to check her out, you guys.
Thank you so much.
Yay. All right. Hold on 1 second. He'll edit this part out, but I got to pause it.
Yeah, you're good.